expression, we're badass. No, but I'm not going to say that right now. But just so you know, I know.
Right?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us with Speak Easy with Love, where anyone, anytime can come together when they're in their hearts and talk about tough topics. But when we speak easy with love, it can be said and expressed in ways that make our hearts feel filled and give us an opportunity to connect with people and really embrace. Welcome three amazing women in our world today, and we are kicking off, a celebration of women in history. And I couldn't be more prouder than to start this month off with Courtney Daniels. So, Courtney, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Okay, well, my name's Courtney Danielle, and I reside in West Palm Beach, Florida. I am a 49-year-old fitness and fashion model that also is trans. I'm a transgender female, and I have two amazing kids, and I'm a doctor of physical therapy.
Fantastic. Wow. What a remarkable energy you have in our world. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Miss Aisha, tell us where's my magic school bus driver? There she is. Look at that beautiful smile. You're so gorgeous. Tell the world all about you, girlfriend.
Well, I'm Aisha Manis. I'm in Georgia. I'm currently driving home. I'm about a quarter mile from my house. I lost track of time today because my concept of time is really screwed right now because I'm working on a master's degree and it's pretty much consumed my entire life.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, are you a mom? Are you are you independent? Like, what's your integration to love and contributions to the love bug cycle in our world?
I am a mom to a special needs child. She's got 2q37 deletion syndrome. So there's about 1,000 people in the world with her syndrome that's diagnosed.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a wife. I got a glorious, glorious husband. He is amazing. I also have a 17-year-old foreign exchange student who's basically my child now. And yep, I'm just lots of big family. My brother and mother live with me. Lots of life.
So you got a big old blended family, it sounds like.
Yep, a very big old blended family.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And how about you, Miss Jersey? How are you? Welcome.
Hi, I'm great.
Share with us your light, please.
Yeah, my name is Carrie. I am a bisexual woman. I actually was on the very first bisexual cast to be on a major cable television network. And that really inspired me to really bring in the representation of the LGBTQ plus community in more places. For example, pageantry. We lack a lot of people like me in pageantry. And that's why I use my platform to not only add that inclusivity in the pageant field, but in all other sources of media. So yeah, that's my story and my journey.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, thank you all for being here. I would love to start today's talk with asking each of you what it feels like to be a woman today and how this story of you has unfolded over your lifetime. How it's morphed maybe into different spaces, and just what it feels like to be a woman, what it feels like to, today especially, we've had so many remarkable women that have come before us that kind of paved the way and did some work for us. And I think today we're in a way better outlook and view than we've ever been. And I feel as a woman very empowered to share my story and to be who I am. And what does that feel like for you? Who would like to go first?
I'll go.
Yeah,
So,
I was going to say,
okay,
Courtney, just let it go. Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, having lived like so many years of my life as the wrong gender and everything, when I finally came into the light, and I guess it was almost 4 years ago, right? And it really opened my eyes to like all the issues that women face in general and have been facing for since the dawn of time, I guess, right? And it's given me a totally different outlook, and it's allowed me to embrace not only my feminine side, but also my masculine side too, because we all have a masculine and feminine energy about us, regardless of your gender identity, right? Or your sex. And so it's really just given me a voice for my community, the transgender community, to be able to show the world that, hey, you know what? This is what I am. I'm a woman, just like every other woman out there. And, you know, it's really, how do I want to say this? It's really just given me the opportunity to show the world that, you know, there is no box that you have to fit in. You know, for so many years, there's so much misogyny in the world, right? And like, in society's views, we need to be like stick figures and, you know, and that's not true. You just have to be you. And you have to let everything about you shine through and come out and just go forward in the world and face your day to day, just like every other person. But I will say, yeah, there's a lot of inequality like in the workplace and just different things from pay to like how people view your opinion, coming from a woman versus a man, right? And just there's so many different outlooks, but little by little, I think it's getting smaller and smaller. And I'm very pleased about that because there are so many women that are standing up today and just saying, this is enough, you know? I have the same amount of education as you, and I have the same ability, if not more. So yeah, I deserve this, and I'm gonna take this.
Yeah. Well, so gosh, I have so many questions for you. I don't even know where to start. You're amazing for just sharing and teaching us all. Um, tell me, tell us what being a transgender means.
Well, okay, so transgender female is someone that identifies as female
Mhm.
and was born a male, right? So I was assigned male at birth. And but I always knew I was different and things like that from since like I was probably 12 years old. I just didn't
So
know
you
how
felt
and
it.
what way. Yeah. And so basically it's just I've always felt that like I wasn't really a man. I played the role of a man for so many years because of like my upbringing. I was raised in a very small southern town. And so had I came out as trans back then, I probably wouldn't be on this feed today because I wouldn't be here. Um, so
Mm.
yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's just really identifying how I've always felt. That's really basically what being trans to me is. It's like this is what I've always been. Yeah, it took me a little while to realize and to come out to face the world, but you know what? I'm here.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. You know, were you married at some point?
Yeah, I
You
was.
mentioned
I
that
was
you have
married
three
for
children.
19. Yeah, I was married for 19 years, and
Wow.
I have two beautiful boys, and they're amazing, and I'm thankful
Mhm.
for them every day. I'm thankful for everything that I've went through in my life, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, because it's made me the woman I am today.
Yeah, yeah. And how have you shared this choice and these changes with your children? What is that? What is parenting like for them?
Yeah, well, I will say like it's still difficult, right? Because my oldest is 14 and my youngest is 9.
Are they
And
boys or
so
girls?
two boys.
Two
And
boys. Okay.
yeah, and so it's been really a struggle for my oldest for a long time, but finally I think we're starting to kind of be able to communicate in a normal manner. And I just, you know, like there's so many things that I just want to show them that like, you know, whatever life throws at you, you always have the option. You can let it kick you and stay down, or you can
Mm,
rise to the top. And so that's what I'm
right
doing.
there.
And, you know, and so that's really what I want to show them that no matter what you're faced with, you have the ability to overcome and go forward.
Yeah, and you are a physical therapist as well.
Correct.
So
Yes.
you work with people all day long.
All day
How
long.
was transitioning and changing your life and honoring
Mhm.
yourself? How did that affect your work?
Okay, so last year, well, whenever I started transitioning, I had my own clinic, so it was very easy.
Okay.
Um, but whenever I decided to step down as a business owner and just go back into the workforce because I didn't
Yeah.
really want the whole whatever behind the scenes action, right? It was a struggle. It was a
Sure.
struggle
Sure.
because there was times I'm going, why aren't I getting hired? You know, it's like I've never had any difficulty. Usually if I go to a job interview, I know I'm going to get the job. I interview very well
Yeah.
and all this stuff, right? My credentials speak for themselves. But it was like a long process, almost a year, that I've knocked on so many doors, sent out so many resumes, and just nothing. We decided to go a different route. This isn't what we're really looking for, all this stuff. And it starts to play with like your psyche, right? And but luckily the place that I'm at right now, they were very accepting. Everyone, you know, I think I've had maybe one issue with one patient in the course of the time that I've been there, but really everyone adapts and just goes forward, you know?
Yeah. Well, and tell me, what is it like now seeing life through the lenses of a woman? I mean, do you think that men have it easier or women? What do
Oh my
you
God.
what is it
No,
what does that
men
look
have
like
it a
now?
lot
I mean,
easier.
you could
Oh my
actually
God.
tell us.
Are you kidding me? No, I mean, like men have it so much easier, right? I mean, from little things like just getting ready to go somewhere or, you know, just not having to like really, like I said, it plays into like the whole like male privilege that they talk about, right? And it's such a male patriarchy world,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, they do have it easier. But yeah, I mean, all the things that women go through. I mean, like I know I can't really relate, like as far as like menstruation, but I know
Oh
whenever
yeah,
I
you got
start,
to miss that.
right?
Well, there's
But
one.
whenever I started my transition and I started taking the hormones, you know, my hormones started like crossing, right? And so my estrogen started coming up and my testosterone started going down. And so I basically went through menopause and I had a lot of the same stuff that you guys, the hot flashes, the mood
Oh
swings,
my
the tiredness,
God.
everything. So I've been there, done that.
You are a
Um,
woman's dream come true. Because
right,
we've always wished that men could know what they feel like.
right.
Tell
And
everyone
so
now.
And so I used to tell my ex, I was like, you know, because we were still married at the time, I said, you know what? I said, be thankful that this only happens to you once a month. It happened weekly because every time my estrogen would start to drop, I would start having all these hot flat everything, right?
Oh,
And so, yeah. And so until
I'm
that
so
finally
sorry.
got regulated, until I got
Welcome to the
regulated,
tribe.
right? Until it got regulated, you know, things are like great now. It's just like if you were to go on HRT, you know, everything starts to regulate out and you're happy. I will share one thing really quick because I know everyone needs to talk.
Yeah.
But like, I remember like whenever I went to my first lab to get my estrogen levels checked, and I went back to my OBGYN, and she was like, "Oh yeah, your hormones look great, blah blah blah." And I look at the number, and I'm all like, "That's really low." And she was like, "No, Courtney, you know, given your age, postmenopausal woman." I was like, "Wait, time out." I go, "We're not here to be postmenopausal, okay?" I go, "That's not why we're here." And so, like, once I finally got it regulated, um, my estrogen went up to the levels of like whenever a cisgender woman would ovulate. So, like in
Oh,
4 and 500s, right? And she
wow.
was like, Courtney, that's really high. You know, you have to be really careful. I go, Doc, I said, I feel the best I've ever felt in my entire life. I said, I don't know what to tell you. I guess I'm really fertile. I don't know. But
Yes.
yeah, so that's
Wow.
just a little,
Well, like I said, welcome to the tribe.
yeah,
You've been
thanks.
inducted with hormones now.
Right? Oh my God.
Now you've
Yeah.
got the hormone imbalance curse that we all face.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right, my queens, who would like to share off of that? I see both of your bright eyes. Somebody go ahead and bring forth your light. Which one would like to do that?
I'll speak.
She ducks down.
I'm like, all right. I see someone going down. I'm like, all right. But yeah, I do think that there are so many challenges with being a woman, so much more, beyond the, physical aspects, but even when it comes to like career. And I saw something the other day that I thought was hilarious, and it was do you lock your car as soon as you get in it at night, or are you a man? And I was like, wow, that is so true. You never really think about it. The precautions that we take as women, a man might not necessarily have to do the same thing. And
Yeah.
I think there's something so strong about, society almost makes us feel like we're like weak, or because we do have to take extra precautions, it can make you feel weak. But to see such strong, powerful women, dominating some typical male, things, I think that is one of the fiercest thing that a human being can witness, is a woman showing her power beyond all of the things that people try to put us down with, thinking that we're these weak creatures, when
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
we really go out with a bang.
I couldn't agree. I didn't really realize I have always carried more I was raised a very feminine girl, but I always had more just masculine rising in me, and never had a place to channel it because I was a cheerleader and I was, making things pretty, and I was, all these pretty things. And when I discovered working out, it really helped me channel my like tomboy, because I got to like lift weights and feel my roar, feel that energy inside that I think I always tempered off because it wasn't pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't soft and feminine. And it helped me heal when I could embrace that masculine energy that was naturally in me, and I could channel and transmute that. And for me, it was with working out, and I was a fitness competitor for a long time, and it really helped me heal as a woman from all of the feminine components that were oppressed, because it helped me be like, no, like you and Court, you're saying, like, no, we don't have to just be one way. We can be who we are, and whatever that energy is, we don't have to oppress it anymore. And
Exactly. I think
that's a
that's
beautiful thing.
yeah. Society, it can like really encourage us to suppress like certain things, or you feel like you're not a certain way if you're not suppressing other things. For example, in high school, like I suppressed my gayness, the whole way, because it wasn't making me, I thought it would make me less of a feminine female, which is not true.
And when did you find out, or, and I wouldn't say find out, but when did you really realize that this is who you are, and I'm gonna let this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine? Like, when did you just realize, like, I'm shining, I'm doing
I
this?
always say, like, I came out of the womb and I was like, I'm gay. Like, it was never like a straight face. Like, I was just always kind of like, I like everything. Like, it doesn't,
Yeah,
I like people. I'm attracted to people. I'm not attracted to gender. It was never a
yeah.
deal breaker for me. But the only
I'm
hard part was,
attracted to people. That's beautiful.
yeah. And the only hard thing was, falling in love with a woman or someone who's non-binary. And then that's when I was like, okay, now I really have to come out, so I could live my life openly and freely. And yeah, so like there would be times I would like come out of the closet and then run right back in, because like I was from a very like Christian town. So it'd be like I had a girlfriend and then wouldn't have a girlfriend anymore. So I'd be like, oh, okay, we're gonna date boys again and just not talk about the gayness. Because again, I went through a phase where I felt less feminine when I was embracing myself in, all my gayness.
Mm-hmm. And when you, so how old are you today?
I'm 25.
Okay, so at 25, what is your sexuality mean to you? How have you decided you're able to embrace yourself by your own right,
I'm
without,
just,
the
yeah.
pressure or the influence of anything? Just
I
you
decided that
all
like
by yourself.
life is just short, and it's just, I know I'm still young. I'm 25, but I feel like I
Mhm.
blinked and like I used to be 14 and now I'm 25. Like it was just so
You and me
fast.
both, honey.
I'm like, oh my gosh, is this like what happens? And it's just, I don't think that life should be wasted suppressing who you are. And I just kind of found a sense of confidence and strength in myself that I'm like, okay, if there's people who are not going to accept me, those aren't people I want in my life. And I know we hear that all the time, but it's one of those things that's so much easier said than done, because, especially growing up, being young, being in a small conservative town, who doesn't want to be accepted, who wants to be singled out? Nobody. But when you can really, when you're comfortable with who you are by yourself, I think that's when you can just embrace everything you are and you don't need validation.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing. And not many women have that at 25. So I just want to salute you as a woman
Thank you very
for
much.
embracing that at such a young age and stepping into your power. It really, I think, inspires other people to expose themselves to their own freedom. You know, we are so limited, and I think we're conditioned with limits because of our upbringings and society. And it's like, I mean, gosh, what an epiphany when you arrive at that moment going, you mean I'm in charge of me? You mean I can do, like, I remember I was raised in a very small bubble too, in a very authoritarian household. So I just looked out the window all the time and I was like, there's a whole world out there. And I remember when I finally became an adult and moved to California, it was so great. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe all the varieties of different people. I would just love talking with them. And that's a beautiful thing when you realize that, when you leave your little pocket and you see how much freedom there is, and that the only one that limits your choice is really our belief systems and what we're choosing to believe every day. So I salute you and finding that value for your own right.
Thanks.
Beautiful. Bring us home, Aisha. How you doing?
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess, you know, being a woman in this age, it's I guess I'm coming from a completely different perspective than all three of you, because I didn't grow up in a sheltered small town, you know, homophobic town, you know, the kind of
Where
I
did you
grew up in
grow
a
up?
very like, you be who you are, you do what you want.
Oh,
I don't care, love who you want to love. So like I
you're so
knew as a
lucky.
kid that I loved everyone. I came out, I didn't really have to come out because there was no coming out to a parent who didn't care, you know.
Oh,
When I was in high school and I was part of the Gay Straight Alliance and like founding it at my school, and I've been to gay prides around the world, like in Seoul, in New York, DC, California. I've been like, I am just, I'm
wow.
here, I'm queer, get used to it. It's been my motto since a child, because that's just who I am. And so I know it's weird to see other people who talk about having those like difficulties, because I'm like, I don't understand it because I never experienced it. I just was me,
Yeah,
and I've
you're
always
so
been
that's so lucky. Yeah,
unapologetically.
blessed. So
And
now
then
wait a minute.
also, I don't lock my door when I get into a car because I guess I'm a man, because I've also never had those fears. But I think that stems more into not being classically beautiful. I'm not saying I'm not pretty. I think I'm gorgeous. But from a classical
You are.
standpoint and what society deems as beautiful, I'm not skinny. I don't have long flowing hair. I'm not super feminine. And so I've never felt like I would ever be attacked or threatened because I don't present that aura.
Hmm.
I don't know. I have a weird take on the world, because I used to have hair. My hair used to go all the way to my butt. And then I just one day, and I was attached to it in that it made me a girl. And I was trying to, I don't know. I don't know why I was so attached. And then one day I was like, I'm shaving it off. And I
I'm
raised
done.
money for childhood cancer research. And I realized I looked awesome bald. I like not having hair. And it confuses people that I wear these really frilly dresses and I drive a pink car, but I'm bald. So a lot of people just think I have cancer, but I don't. I just, I embrace my more masculine
Yes.
side and show you that hair is just hair and I'm awesome.
Mhm.
Like I have a lot of
Yeah.
confidence, guys.
Well, and I think that that's what that radiant smile reflects. You know, my favorite thing when I see you is always what you're just putting out there from that smile, and it lights me up. It's infectious. So, and that probably everything you just share is your why. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. You weren't held back from being you. How blessed is that? So having always
Yeah.
that freedom. Now, you had mentioned earlier that you're married. So let's talk about that.
Mhm.
How is the commitment to being married affect your sexuality?
I mean, I always tell my husband if he dies, I'm getting a wife. Like plain and simple, I'm gonna. Well, part of it was, even though I've always been very out about my sexuality, I was actually incredibly shy around women. I don't know what it is. I could walk up to any man with super confidence and be like, let's go home. Like, I don't know what it is, but I couldn't walk up to a woman. I couldn't do it. And so like,
They're intimidating.
and you know,
Are
eventually
they?
ended up with the
Yeah.
man. Yeah. I ended up with a man, which I love him to death. He is wonderful. Like, but if anything happens to him, I'm going to have a wife. I deserve that.
Yes. All right. So we brought up the word intimidating. What is it? I mean, this is a big deal, and you hit it. You nailed it. And you're like, I cut my hair, and I removed all the barriers that would, make me create that stigma. What is it about women in general that are intimidating? Why do we have such a I've recently, as I've been peeling back layers of the cycle of abuse and trying to figure out how the hell I get myself out of this mess and, continue to overcome it. And what I realize is how hard we are on each other as women. And, we all effort to be whole and to be genuine and to be real, by our own rights. And to me, it's a natural space to be a cheerleader to women because I know what it takes to be one. But not everybody, I think, has that same take. What is that about? What is that about?
I think
Writers
with dating
behave.
women,
What's that about?
with dating women, it's like, so for example, like if you're a woman who's out of the closet, like you have to have confidence, first of all, so it's just technical difficulties. So it's just like these very confident human beings, who know what they want, who know who they are. And I feel like sometimes maybe in your average straight man, he doesn't have those same qualities. So it's a lot more intimidating when you're with this fierce queer woman trying to measure up to that same confidence. It can be a little scary, especially if you're like a newly coming out woman.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, and how often are men intimidated by you? Like,
I mean,
are they
I haven't
afraid
really
you're going to
asked.
steal their girl? Are they afraid that you're going to sweet talk their love away and their
It really
history? Like, how does that work?
I feel like it really depends on the man, Some men are just, confident enough in themselves. Some, can be, kind of like intimidated or like, oh, okay.
So that's good. You're not getting hit with that strife, that pressure from men. You're
Yeah.
able. That's good. All of you feel the same way? Courtney, I feel like you've got something to say there.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, like, really, it's like so weird because like my dating life is horrible. Like, it is so hard. Let me tell you, dating as a trans woman, right? It is very difficult. Like, I identify as pansexual, so kind of similar to like bisexual, right? I love people. I connect with your heart, and I don't care what's downstairs. So like, yeah, I mean, it's just very intimidating. I'm thinking about like, one of the things that was said earlier about like intimidated, like dating a woman or going up to a woman, is the fact that like, well, first off, like if you go up to a guy, you pretty much know, or chances are that it's going to be more of a heterosexual thing, right? And so that does lower a little bit of like the intimidation factor, depending on like, what else is going on. But when you go up to a woman, you have no idea if she's out, if she's hetero, if she's like lesbian, whatever, right? So that like also increases the level of intimidation when you're going up to talk to someone, because you're like, oh my God, like, how is this gonna go? So yeah, I don't know. And then, there's so many other things, but yeah, so like for trans in general, I found it very, very difficult, like with dating, because like if you are trying to date a guy, there's like, and I guess this kind of goes back, and like I never saw it before, but like coming out as trans and dating, there's so much disrespect. Like when you're trying to have a normal conversation, and especially like on like apps and stuff like that, right? It just goes from being like nice conversation to like, here's a pic. And it's like, I didn't ask you for that, and so
What is
it's,
up with that?
I don't know.
What
And
would
I'm
I
like,
just
I don't get it. I mean, like, do people not communicate? I'm like old school. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
49,
me too.
so I mean, I want to be courted. I want to be taken out to dinner. All this stuff, and I don't want to just show up, hi, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's like that's not what I'm looking for. And so,
Yeah.
just I don't know. It is like dating in general. I don't think it really goes to like your sexuality. Just dating in general, especially today, can be very, very intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else want to add to that? Crickets. All right. So why do you think, or how do you think, like when we go back, like way back, like let's go back to like that story of like Adam and Eve, right?
Mhm.
And we have the story that tells us, that Eve came into the garden and she tempted Adam and the world changed, right? So we know that there's this temptation that eludes us with our sexuality that provokes and evokes energy that changes, how we feel, how we are reacting from our senses, right? There's that whole sensuality there. But we also know that women for a lifetime, I mean, let's just think about this. We wouldn't have a world, a populated world, if women weren't having babies. So we know that women have created this massive world that we live in from their wombs, right?
Mhm.
Why then have we always had to go second? Why do men always
Well,
get the first? I mean, I think things are changing. They have been.
men haven't actually always had the first.
Okay, come on.
Sorry, there's a lag. Oh, what I was
That's
saying
okay.
is men haven't always gone first. The historians have just created this illusion that men have always gone first. His stories are written by men, so they make it about them. They don't tell the stories of women. But we're learning more and more as we study more and more history that
Yeah.
women were just as involved as the men were. We just don't have their stories.
Mm. So
So I
how do
mean,
we as
I don't know.
women create that?
We have to just keep studying history for one thing and revealing the truth of what's actually happened and stop letting people teach complete and utter lies all the time.
What is your master's degree? What
And
are you going for that degree
education.
in? Yeah. And a strong emphasis on?
U.S. history with an emphasis in women's history.
That's why we love you. So what is the one profound message that you've learned in your studies? Like what inspires you to keep learning about this? Why women's studies? Why women's history?
Because women are awesome. Like, no, I mean, I guess every time I study and I learn new things that are like should be obvious, it sometimes makes me mad that I didn't learn this before and that everything's always been focused on white males who liked war. And instead, there are all these really amazing humans out there who've done great things. And we need to be learning about them because they're actually changing the world. Like, I don't know. I just love women's history because I love that to see that there were people empowered during a time when they're still being pushed down. They're fighting back, saying, no, we're going to
Yeah.
do this. We're going to get the right to vote, or we're going to help out our people, or I do own land and it's my stuff and I'm going to sue. Like, there's some great stuff in history, and it's just we don't talk about it because it's always about the men who went to war. And so,
And what do you
yeah.
feel about the women of our worlds and their wombs and how they're creating our babies and our futures and our generations and how that has influenced our evolution?
Uh, so I have slight issues with all that kind of things like that because that just pushes this whole agenda that a woman has a womb when not all women have wombs. So I
Mm.
because that's a narrative that was forced in the 1980s when they'd use terms like
Oh,
womb men to
yeah.
try to describe things, and only women menstruate, and my whole platform having to do with menstruation. And I'm like, no,
Oh, tell
some
us
people,
more.
not
Keep
everyone who
going.
menstruates is a woman. It's just a case of it's a biological thing. that some half the world does, you know. But like I don't know, for me to hear women create babies, and I'm like, well, there's plenty of babies that were created by men technically, and you know,
Yes,
like,
but they
and
had to
then
come through a woman's
we
body
could.
to be born.
I'm also a fan of adoption, and I don't like the idea of us going into like women and seeing them only as the creators of people, because that narrows down women's roles to just being baby makers, which is an issue we have with all the regulation of women. And it's hard for me to get that out, but be like,
And
I
I
don't know,
feel you, but
I
you
see
can't
women as way
deny the
more than
fact
just
that our
makers of
babies,
babies.
yeah, well, but you can't deny the fact that we are the ones that are having them. And today, not only are we having babies, but we are in the workforce more than ever. And we are creating changes and advocacies for things that have evolved and caused our world massive pain. And so I think that the love that a woman is able to embrace from having a child expands her in ways that give her a voice to awaken some of these issues for what we're experiencing now. I think that life that comes through her really does affect the voices that echo for our change today. And no, we're not limited to that anymore. But yeah, for a long time, you are right that that was a pressure point. And I think that that's kind of what we're experiencing is women saying like, we're not just baby makers, but yet we still can't overlook that we do it. However, as a mother of four, I'm like, I had four kids. Now I'm having a career. Like I feel like I'm doing it all. And I think it's limiting to some of the things that men are having to do because women are becoming so strong today and realizing that they can do it all. You know, it's a powerful synergy that's happening in our world. The female energy is taking, you know, hence the expression girls rule the world. what what does anyone think about that? Come on.
I mean, I was going to say, actually, history shows us that women can't do it all in a capitalistic society because there are not enough infrastructure in place for women to do it all, because we are still the ones who are required to take care of our children. We are still paid at
Mm,
70 cents to the dollar as men, and we are often overlooked by men, like, for promotions, because we take care of our children. We take care of our children. We're like, why are they here? But when a husband or like a father takes care of their child, they're
yeah,
applauded for the exact same work and given promotions. So we actually can't
I
really do it
feel
all
you on that
just yet,
one.
because our society doesn't allow us to, until we have maternity leave and paternity leave, until we have, you know, more childcare options and we're paid at rates that we can actually afford to put our kids into childcare, until there's mandated pre-K for like 3 and up for all children and not just a lottery system that allows people to
Mm,
go back to work. So we're trying to do it all, but we still really can't do it all. There are a few, but often those who are doing it all have a lot of help from women or men who come in as nannies or caretakers for those children.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm kind of the pessimistic there, but all the studies will show you that at this time we still can't do it all until we are not as capitalistic of a society. But that will never happen when white men are in power. Like, yeah.
What do you ladies think about that?
Okay.
Damn, she really knows what she's talking about. I
Right?
love that. Like, I think that's a prime example of like a really strong woman is someone who can see the problem and will raise her
Knows
voice
their
and will
shit.
fight
Yeah,
and will spit the facts. You know, the best thing you get hit with is facts, because at the end of the day, you can argue an opinion, you can't argue the facts.
yeah, absolutely. No, it's real, and it's as real as that estrogen that comes right in and knocks us off our feet. It's undeniable. And that's the common thread. There's always an influx that's creating a balance. So, what would be your rising? So, if we have feminine and masculine in both of us, what would you say is your rising? And what do you do to keep that male and female energy balanced in your life? Courtney, why don't you give us a start?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I definitely see like my estrogen, my femininity is like rising, like as I'm developing more and more into the woman I am today. Um, I still like to work out. Like, as you can tell, if you follow my feed, that's all that's on there is like workouts and posing and all. But I don't know. I think that's like some of the things that keeps me in check because, like I said, like I'm pretty girly, but there's a side of me that still likes to work out. And for the longest, like I said before, you know, like I thought to be accepted by society's view that I needed to just wear dresses everywhere and, you know, have the long hair and like all that stuff. But then I'm like, well, you know what? I can do all that. But then I'm just going right back into the box that I worked so hard to get out of. And so I'm like, no, I like to work out, so I'm gonna work out, and muscles are sexy, and you know things like that. And so I had a patient tell me last week, they're like, she's like probably like in her late 80s, and she was like, Courtney, you know, muscles aren't sexy. And I'm like, really? I go, I think muscles are very sexy, and strong is the new beautiful. So I was like, yeah, you know, it's like that's what I do to keep myself in check. And I know I go off on tangents, so sorry.
No, it's good.
But,
We're here for that.
but yeah, I mean, and you know, I still, like I said, I get up. I like to before I leave the house. I never leave the house without makeup and like all that stuff. And everyone's like, "You're just going to the store." I'm like, "Yeah, but." And so you know, it's like it's all those little things that like just makes me me. But that's who I am. So.
How about you, ladies? Thank you.
Well, for me, like I think, for example, kind of going off that, I actually like love makeup. I went to school for it. It's like how I express my creativity. But with that, I almost created like this blanket because you know my natural face isn't as feminine as you know my made up face. You know, I love it. It feels like me when I just have this dramatic feminine face, and I feel like I almost created this barrier where I couldn't expand out of it. So if you haven't noticed, I'm not wearing makeup right now. I feel so much better when I can just publicly like speak and be myself without
Me
that,
too.
you know,
Me
thing,
too.
you know, hiding me. And I think that's when we speak the most raw is when we're a
Yeah.
little bit outside of our comfort zones. So yeah, for me, I feel like my rising is my makeup, but you know, also being able to feel comfortable, you know, not needing it. It's a part of me. It's not who I am.
I really appreciate that. Makeup has always been such a blocker of flow for me. I was always raised with this cliche, like, you know, you're wearing too much makeup and don't wear so much makeup. You're not wearing enough makeup, or like, I just, you know, and then you see all this glamour in our media, and you as a woman, I would be like, gosh, that's so pretty. And as I've gotten older, I feel I enjoy putting makeup on. Obviously, it makes things look pretty, but gosh, I so relate when I do, you know, interviews and stuff like that. I try to just be me because when you're speaking, you know, your truth, it's always in my favor, anyways, to just be my most authentic self. And sometimes when I have, you know, a big shoot and I'm all glamored up, I'm like, I can't, like, that's not me. I'm a fake, I'm a fraud. So makeup, I mean, makeup has really created a divergence for women, you know, and given us an alter ego, if you will, in many ways.
Oh
Um,
yeah, definitely. But on this note, guys, I actually have to get going to work. But I want to say thank you so much
okay,
for inviting me on. I love this conversation.
absolutely.
You're all
Absolutely.
so beautiful, and I think this is so awesome what you're doing. So thank you for doing this for
Thank you
women
for
everywhere to listen.
Thank you for speaking easy with love, and we'll be hosting shows all about girl power this month. So continue to join us. Thank you
Of
so
course,
much.
of course. Bye, beautiful
Bye,
ladies.
sweetheart.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right, Aisha, finish this up. How you doing? Tell us about your
Well,
divine feminine
I
and
actually
masculine
take
rising.
issue with that question.
Tell me why.
I actually, like I say, I kind of take a little bit of issue. Sorry, there's delays. Because by saying that and then using things like I work out to be that's my masculine side, that's putting into the box that women are not are not working out and only men work out, which is not true. And it continues to perpetuate stereotypes because I like
Yeah.
pink things doesn't mean I'm feminine. It just means I like pink things. I love pink. It just makes me happy, but I like purple. I like blue. I wear short hair. I have long wigs. I sometimes put on makeup and I feel glorious because my eyes just pop, but that's not because it's a feminine thing. I just feel pretty. And so for me, it's like, do I have a masculine rising? Do I have a feminine rising? Or I'm just a human who's rising to the top because I'm doing what I love. So I don't know. It's just for me.
And that's awesome because it's breaking all that stigma. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And having this conversation creates awareness of how those little things that we are so conditioned to say equate certain things versus just being, which is really, I think, what we're trying to arrive at. So that's great. I mean, I think that's almost what we, what's so powerful when we get together and talk like this is we, can realize from speaking to each other by hearing what we're saying and by listening to different feedback, how we are, whether we realize it or not, we're still, there's still little traps there that we're getting, that are limiting believing factors, that are putting us, like you said, for lack of better words, in a box. And I think one of the most important things as we step into our power, more so as women, but as humans, is to evolve being who we get to be whenever we're being it. And that's not easy for me because I was raised in a very limiting, space. I didn't have the freedom to be all those things. I didn't even realize I had those freedoms until most recently in my life, which is like, gosh, I had this all along, So it's awesome for me personally to spend time with women like you because it helps me realize that I still have so much to learn. And, the more that we spend time having these conversations and the more that we realize that about just ourselves and others, wow, that's creating little shifts. And over time, those little shifts make a difference. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Would anyone like to share one last bit of light? Perhaps if you could leave one, how we always see those, you're scrolling through your Facebook feed or your social media and you see those great one-liner quotes, right? And you're like, oh. And then you like copy it and paste it and repost it. So what would be your one-line post that you would want copy and paste and shared with the world? What would you want just somebody to know today?
Well, my quote that I always use, that's my favorite quote of all time, is if you have a talent, don't hoard it like a miser, but spend it lavishly like a millionaire intent on going broke.
That gave me the chills. Good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like mine it has to do a little bit more like with judgment. And it's like, don't worry about what others think. They're going to talk about you regardless. So just live your life the way that you're going to live it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those are wise words and definitely a practice. Because, I know myself personally, even though I feel more and more comfortable with myself every day and I practice, just being empowered and in truth, there still is that little creeper that comes in my little head that says, oh no, you might hurt someone's feelings, or oh no, they might not get you, or oh no, and the one thing that I like to always share with my own self is that your tribe, the people that speak the same language as you, will hear the spoken word. And if someone isn't, it's just a different language, but that's all really in the end it is. It's just different, not right or not wrong, just different. And as I get older, I realize that our difference is what makes the world so freaking beautiful. And I honor each of you and your differences. And I would love to take a moment to just close our eyes and come into this moment of now and just send a massive amount of gratitude to each and every one of our hearts and to allow that light to heal the spaces that are needed and to relieve and open the spaces that are blocked, and to give us each the courage and the power to continue to use our words and to speak with love and to share our stories, like our queen said, like a millionaire. So thank you so very much for blessing this moment and this time. I hope that each and every one of you feel that light and energy, and may everything that moves through you be in light and love. And may everything that be because of you be blessed with that light and love. Let's take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining me in this light and speaking easy with love. I appreciate all of your shares and hope to continue to grow with you. I hope you have a
Thank you.
beautiful day. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you.